Okay, so again, percent of change is new value minus the original or old value. Once you've done that subtraction, you're then going to divide by whatever your old value was. And then because we are talking about a percentage, percentages are always out of how much? 100. So we are going to multiply our answer by 100. Because a percentage is out of 100, we are then going to multiply our answer by 100 so that we have it calculated as a percent. Now, if it is a percent of increase, so if we are increasing from our original to our new, then we'll notice that the change that occurs is a positive change. If we are talking about a percent of decrease, meaning that our original value was bigger and we are decreasing to a new value, then that's going to show us negative change. We do not write them as positive or negative. We write them as increase or decrease. So if you were to get a negative answer, you would just, like, let's say our answer was -5, then we would just say 5% decrease. Focus on the board and not on what she's doing. Next time, Maya, you got to do that before you leave my room. Okay. In 1970, the average cost of gas is $1.30. In 2023, the average cost of gas is $2.95. We want to know the percent of change to the nearest whole percent. So this is what's going to get you guys a lot of times. Not the formula, but the rounding. So we need to make sure that your rounding skills are up to par. Okay? When we are working through a problem like this, the only things that we have to identify is what is our new value and what is our old value. So let's start with the old value. What is the original value of gas? Jaden? $1.30. Good. So right here, because we're talking about something that happened in 1970 versus 2023, 1970 is an older value. So we're looking at the gas price from back then, which was $1.30. So we're just going to put 1.30 for our old value. Then we have our new value, okay, which happened in 2023. It's not the newest, but it is a newer value, which was $2.95. So we're going to place $2.95 here. Then we just have to substitute it back into our actual problem, what we are physically going to be working through. So we're going to take our newest value. Grab my black pen. We're going to take our newest value. We're going to subtract it by our oldest value. Okay, so I'm just setting up my problem. I know it's going to be a division problem. I know that there's going to be subtraction inside there. So we're taking 2.95, that's my new. I'm going to subtract 1.30. Then I'm going to divide that answer by 1.30. And then at the very end, I'm going to hit that I'm multiplying it by 100. And again, guys, you do not have to do this little bit by little bit. You can physically take your calculator, whether it's your Desmos calculator or your handheld calculator, and you can type it exactly as you see. So I see that I have a fraction. That on the top of my fraction, I've got this subtraction problem, 2.95 minus 1.30. At the bottom of my fraction, I see that I have 1.30. And then outside of my fraction, I see that I'm supposed to multiply by 100. So I move my cursor to the outside and hit multiply by 100. And that's going to give me 126.92307769, all of that. But now remember, we are supposed to be rounding it to the nearest whole percentage. Did you have a question? The fraction bar?
Oh, that's it?
That's just a fraction bar. I hit the fraction, so I'll do it one more time. I hit the fraction button first. So at the top of my fraction, I typed in my problem, 2.95 minus 1.30. Your fraction bar is going to keep extending for whatever the length of your numerator is. Then I'm going to go down to the bottom. I'm going to type 1.30 again. Then I'm going to get out of the fraction. I'm going to type times 100. Okay, you can do that in your Desmos calculator as well. So I get this whole long, lengthy answer here, right? This is going to come out to approximately 126.92307, and it just keeps going. Okay, but that's not what I'm wanting. The question is asking me to round it to the nearest whole percent. The nearest whole percent. What number up here? 1, 2, 6, 9, the other 2, 3, 0, 7. Which one of those numbers is the whole number? Coven? 126. Okay, 126 is my whole number. Okay, so the last value of that whole number is the 6. That's where I need to round to. When I'm rounding, do I look in front of it or behind it?
Behind it.
Behind it. So what number is directly behind it? A 9. So this 9, it's going to tell me either to round it up to the next number or to keep it exactly as it is. So remember our rules. So I'm going to write the rules up here again. If it is 5 or above, you're going to give it a shove. That means you're going to round it up. 5 or above, you're going to give it a shove. You're going to round it up. If it is 4 or below, you let it go. Okay, that means you're just going to keep as is. There's your rhyme. You know I love rhymes. 5 or above, give it a shove. Shove that value to the next number up. If it's 4 or below, you let it go. You leave it as it is. You keep it the same. Okay, so we're taking a look here. The 9, does that follow 5 or above or 4 or below? 5 or above. It falls 5 or above, so we're going to give it a shove. So we're going to shove this number, 126, is going to get shoved up to the next value. What's the next value above 126? 127. Okay, so we're going to get 127%. And that is an increase or a decrease? Increase, because it was positive, right? So we're going to put increase. 126% or 127% increase that we had. All right, we shove. Okay? Let's take a look at problem number 2. James bought a DVD player for $280. Now it's on sale for $220. So we want to find the percent of change to the nearest tenth this time. Okay, so again, we're going to identify our old value first, and then we're going to identify our new. So he bought a DVD player for $280. It's now on sale for $220. Which one of those values is the old original value, Patrick? 280. Okay, 280 is our old original value. That means that our newest value is going to be 220. Okay, so we can now plug it into our problem. Remember, we have a fraction. At the top of the fraction, we have a subtraction problem. What number are we going to put first for our subtraction problem? Addison? The new one, the 220. Okay, so that means we're subtracting our old 280. Which one of the values is going to go on the bottom again?
280.
The 280, the old. Old is going to go on the bottom, 280. What am I still missing? Times it by 100. Good. So again, in your calculator, you do not have to sit here and work it out step by step. You can write the whole thing out into your calculator, and it's going to give you an approximate value. Jacqueline? Yeah, I know.
Negative 1.4.
And it keeps going, right? Like 2, 8, 5, 7. It just keeps going, right? Okay, so there's our approximate value. Notice we got a negative. Am I going to write the negative when I put my final answer?
No.
No. Right, what are we going to write instead of writing the negative? We're going to say what instead? If it was a negative change, what is that called? Decrease, not positive. Instead of writing the negative sign, we're just going to indicate that it is a decrease. So now that we've done that, we can go ahead and identify what we are rounding to. So we are rounding to the nearest tenth. To the nearest tenth. What number up here, 2, 1, 4, 2, 8, 5, 7, which one of those digits is the 10th place value? Brandon. No? You tried. It's a good try. Rajay.
4.
The 4. The 4 is where our 10th place value is. Shh. The 4 is where our 10th place value is. So again, we're looking at the number behind it. So we're looking at this 2 that's directly behind it. So let's take a look back again at our rules. Does the 2 go with 5 or above or 4 or below? 4 or below. So we're going to let it go. We're going to keep it. We're going to keep it. So that means that our answer, we're not going to include that 2. What I circled is not going to get included in there. It's just letting me know that this information is what's going to happen. So our final answer here is 21.4%. And again, because of the fact that it was a negative, that means that this was a decrease. Because it was a negative, that means it is going to be a decrease there. We do not write the negative sign, though. We do not write the negative sign. Boys. All right, let's take a look at problem number 3. We want to know the markup rate. Basically, what is the rate of change that's occurring as we are going from an original value to a marked up cost. So they're giving us 2 values here. We need to identify which one, again, was the old. Which value here is my old? 30. $30 is my old. So what's my new value? 37.20. Okay, so there's my new, there's my old. Shh, boys. We're going to set up our subtraction. Remember, we're doing new minus old. So 37.20 minus the 30. I'm going to zoom in a little bit more so you guys can see it because I wrote really small. What are we going to divide by? 30, right? We're dividing by the 30 and then times it by 100. Thank you, Kaden. We're going to multiply that by 100. Okay? So that's going to give us approximately what? When we do 37.20 minus 30, and then we divide it by 30, and we multiply by 100, what is that going to give us? 24. And that's not an approximate rate. That is actually an equals. It's exactly equal to 24. That's 24%, and again, it's a mark up. So if it's marked up, was that increasing or decreasing? Increasing. So I'm going to go ahead and put this was a 24% increase in our price. Now, it wants to know what is the markup price for $25 item. So here, this is me throwing in some practice with proportions. Who can create the ratio of the given amount? What's the fraction for the given information? First of all, which one of these rows is my given information? The first top row or bottom row? The top, the first, right? Because why is it given? Because everything's given to you, isn't it? All of the information here, original and markup, were given to you. The bottom row is our question, right? So I'm going to even write that down. This is my given information right next to it. This bottom row is my questioned information. So I can create my ratio based off of that. Coven, create my ratio.
30 over 37.20.
Very good. 30 over 37.20 equals 25 over 100. 25 over, not 100, but x. 25 over x. So there is my proportion that I can create to solve for the missing value. I know that I've got 30 over 37.20, 25 over x. Okay? Because if this is a proportional relationship, they should change by the exact same amount. So then we can do our cross product. We can multiply 30 times x to get 30x. We can multiply 37.20 times 25. Okay, if we do 37.20 times 25, we're going to get 930. And then our very end, we're just going to divide both sides by 30. And we're going to get x equals 31. Good. So x is going to equal $31. So once it got marked up, when it got marked up from $25 to $31. Okay, I want you guys to do problem number 4 on your own. You're just doing your percent of change. You're identifying your new, you're identifying your old, you're identifying what the percent is increasing or decreasing by, and this time it's to the nearest hundredth. How many decimal places is behind the decimal if it's to the nearest hundredth? Hold them up. 2, 2. Okay, everybody knows that. 2 places behind the decimal. All right, what was my old? 28. 28 was my old, right? That was last year's cost was 28. What's my new?
36.
36 is my new. That's this year's cost, 36. Okay, what am I subtracting up here?
36 minus 28.
36 minus 28. It's not a race, dude. What am I dividing by? 28. Okay, and then Jacqueline, what do we get?
28.5714, 28.50.
Oh, good. Okay, so he got that. We got approximately 28.57142.8, and it just keeps going, right? Shh. Quiet. Nearest hundredth. Nearest hundredth. Our 100th place value is 2 decimals behind, or 2 numbers behind the decimal, which was the 7. So we got to look at the 1. Are we going to shove or let go? Keep. Let go. Keep. Right? The 1 tells us that we're going to go ahead and keep. So it's going to be increase or decrease? Increase. It was positive. Increase. We're going to have an increase of 28.57% increase. Okay?
Miss French-Zheng, I got 8% in my calculator.
What did you do? Did you
I
say?
did 26 minus 28.
But it's 36.
36 minus 28.
Did you divide by 28?
Oh.
Yeah, you got to divide, baby. All
I
right.
knew that. Miss French-Zheng, you didn't answer my question. You got an X or an equal.
That's the equal, bro.
That's approximately. That's an approximate sign. Equals means it's exactly this amount. Approximate means that we're going to be estimating. All right.